Hello students, this is Dr. Prakash Pitroda. Uh, Today we are going to continue understanding some of the theory portion of Java. We begin with understanding Java token. So before we get into further discussion, uh, please subscribe this channel for your latest updates. Thank you. Let's carry on with our Java token. So when I say a word token in Java, a token is nothing but the smallest unit of a Java statement. Smallest unit, sorry, my mistake. So a smallest unit of a Java statement. When I say smallest unit, when we say when I write a statement int a is equal to 10, then int is a keyword. In a layman's term we call this as a command word. Alright, lot of people call it as command words, but in a computer we need to call it as a keyword. So in exam, in your paper also you will get this word keyword. So keyword is one of the token identifier, your variable. All right, in a very simple term you call it a variable, but in technical term a variable is known as an identifier. Is equal to is technically operator, but in a simple term we call signs. Literal in a technical term also known as constant. Constant is also another technical term. In a simple term we call as data value. And of course punctuators, these are nothing but special signs, we can call special signs. But as a Java student you need to know these terms which are mentioned here because they are Java token. Like if I write an English statement may contain verb, adverb, adjective, noun, pronoun. They are called tokens of English language because they will help understanding. From a statement you can find out this. Similarly, from a Java statement, you may find out which is a keyword, which is an identifier, which is an operator, etc. So they are called Java tokens. It is not necessary to have all tokens being present at all the time, but whichever portion of the Java statement will be there, you will always find some or the other token present over there. So let us understand this tokens little bit more in detail, and we go here. First token that you have is keyword. When I say keyword, in a technical term, we call this as a command word. All right, but in Java, the keywords are nothing but special reserved word. They are reserved by Java. They carry a special meaning to Java. Whenever you type those words, computer will understand certain meaning out of it. You will also find in a very simplest way is the moment you type a word, they will change their color to something to make you understand this must be some kind of a word which is reserved by Java. So they are reserved, all right, and they have a special meaning to the Java compiler. So when Java will compile and convert it into the machine language, there is a meaning to each and every word. So you will find that these keyword will help computer understanding it what is the process to be done. So they are called keywords. There are many keywords we have seen: byte, short, int, long, float, double, char and boolean. They are technically your primitive data types as well as your keywords. The moment you write class, computer understands how to declare after the class is been declared. Void, at some stage in 10th standard also you learn, which means a function with non-return type. Public, it means any function which is available to all parts of program and will all be also all part of other programs as well. Private, protected, we will learn as and when we come across the 10th standard syllabus. For will help the computer understand that there is a loop, repetition of a process. While and do while also will help computer understanding a special type of a repetition of a process. Switch case, if else are called conditional statement which will help us controlling the program. So each and every word has a meaning, hence they are called keywords. So there are many other keywords, but as of now we are going to only focus on what we know or what is their part of our syllabus. We move on to the next one. The next token that you have is an identifier. So as we have understood, identifier are also known as variables. So when I say int roll is equal to 25, you will find roll is a variable. A variable is nothing but the memory address where the data items are stored. You see, the computer memory is quite large. Once the data goes inside, where the data is residing, you will come to know from its address, that is its variable. So variables are necessary part of your program. All data in Java at all times must be stored into some variable so that we can retrieve it back by using that variable. Like how you look at yourself, how you have your own address. So you want to call somebody at your home, you have to provide them with the address. Somebody knows at this address they will find you. Similarly, your data items are residing into the computer at some place where they are, that is through this variable you will come to know. So variable is an address, it is a memory address where the data items are residing and you will be able to retrieve those data from it. However, when I say int roll is equal to 25, so somewhere in the memory, computer will have a role under which the variable 25 must have been stored. But while writing this identifier, there are certain rules that you need to follow. So because it's a computer system and the data goes inside a memory, you will find certain rules that needs to be followed. So first rule says an identifier can be a combination of alphabets, digits, and there are only two dollar signs allowed, that is underscore and a dollar. You cannot use even a space. It has to be without any space. You can use underscore and a dollar. Dollar used to be used in the previous languages, but now also people are using, but now at least you can write a multiple characters including underscore. So you may find somebody's email ID also having underscore. There's a big difference between a dash and an underscore. This is an underscore. So it can be a combination. It is not, it must be, it can be a combination of all of them. However, it must not begin with a digit. So you cannot start any variable with a digit. So if I look at the invalid variable, any variable that begins with a digit is not your valid identifier. It can begin with, it means in other word I can say it can begin with alphabets, it can begin with a dollar sign, it can begin with an underscore, but it cannot start with a digit. Says it must not be a keyword. So we have just now seen a list of keywords. None of the keywords you can apply because they are anyway reserved for the Java, so you cannot use them. Apart from that, you also have string literal, which you will see null at some stage you will learn, and boolean literals, which you will also learn in probably this class only, as true and false. They are also reserved by Java, you cannot use them. So I cannot write int true is equal to 25. True is a reserved word. I cannot write int null is equal to 25 also because it's a reserved. Alright, and I cannot write even any keyword for that matter. I cannot say int class is equal to 25, int if is equal to 25, not allowed. Okay, they are already reserved. Then says an identifier is a case sensitive. Case sensitive means anything which is capital or a small, they are considered as separate. So small letters or capital letters are known as uppercase, small letters are known as lowercase. So if I say int a is equal to 10 and I say int a is equal to 10, then computer will give me no error, they both will work in the same program. This a is different than this a. I can also write system.out.println a plus a and computer will be able to give me that answer as 20. Okay, so you cannot have, all right, I mean you can have separate variable with the same name as long as they are deferred in their cases. All right, so roll all small is different than capital ROLL is different than R capital OLL small, they are all different. And then says the identifier can be of any length, however big you want you can write this variable, but ideally you should not write too big because if you're going to use that variable in your program at many places, you can't keep typing that again and again, but it should be big enough to understand what it is storing. For example, if I'm storing roll number, I can write roll, I can write roll no, I can write roll number, r number, something like that, but I cannot write a big statement to take a small roll number. So it should be big enough to identify what is being stored into it. At the same time, it should be small enough so that you can remember it. Here is some of the valid identifier. If you see, beginning with an alphabet, no space is given, but it can end with a digit. So in any part of the identifier, you can have a digit or an underscore. I can have a dollar sign also. I can have an underscore sign also. But I cannot begin with a digit. I cannot have your space. I cannot have a space over here. I cannot have any other special signs. All right, so these are all called, I cannot have even these signs as. So these are the basic identifier rules. All right, if you do not follow the rules, you will definitely get some kind of error message. Then identifier naming convention. Now conventions are nothing but etiquettes and manners. I'm sorry, conventions are etiquettes and manners. So when you are writing a variable, you have to follow the rule definitely, but also there are certain manners. We call them as certain etiquettes and manners. I'll give you a simple example. You know, when you're sitting on a table for eating, they say something called table manners, etiquettes, that you should use fork and spoon, you should use a hanky or something. But if you do not use them, doesn't mean your food is going to go in your ears. It's still going to go in your mouth. You can use your fingers to eat. So these are etiquettes. People feel that yes, you are a good, well-mannered programmer. Like you will see all doctors when they see a report card, I mean not a report card as this, but a medical report, they are able to easily understand the terms written in the medical report because they all follow the same etiquette, same manner. Similarly, here also, when one programmer is writing, it should be understood by the others very easily. So, in some cases, when you are leaving one job and moving into another, and you are given an incomplete program to complete, you may have to go through the program. That time, you should know, okay, what are these variables for? So, for example, here it says names of public methods. So, names of basically methods, that is nothing but functions. Function name, like you have public static void main is a function name, you can write your own name as well. He said should, it's not must. Okay, so etiquettes, all right, you should follow, should begin with a small or a lower letter. So in short, they are all small letters if the word is a single word. But if the word is method, function name is a multiple words, all right, multiple words, then it should begin with small letter, but the second and subsequent word should have capital present into it. So these are predefined already in Java. Someday you will learn. Suppose I'm creating my own function name. Instead of public static void main, I'm saying public static report card. Then a report card first letter should, words should be small, but the second and subsequent if I have, then I should begin with a capital. Similarly, income tax. So first word is income, small, second is beginning with a capital. Private and local, so all the variables that you're writing inside your method should be of small letter. So inside public static void main, if you declare small letters. Any variable whose value should be constant. It means I don't want to change this value. It will remain same throughout the year. Then I should take as a combination of capitals as well as an underscore. If the name is a class name, if I'm creating a class name, then I should begin a class name with a capital. If you write small, it will work, but you should ideally. So if I'm creating my own class name report card, I'll say report R capital cards. So I'm writing, going to say class report card. So this is an ideal class name where multiple words, first letter is capital of each word. Alright, so income tax, shop bill, hotel management. These are some predefined program which is not now there in your syllabus. But since they have been already there in Java, we are just taking this as an example. So I'm sure you all will pay attention while writing your program. The rules are must. You don't follow them, you will get an error message. Conventions are etiquettes and manners. Then you have the third one. So in a program, if you look at this program, okay, or not program, the statement, if I take a first statement or many commonly known statement here, then this is your literal part. We have done in keyword, we have done identifier, Right now we are at literal, operator will deal with little later. So they are called data values. They are also called constants or a data value. Constant is still used in ICSE. They are nothing but data items whose value remain fixed during the process. Meaning by, if I enter a number 25, then the value of the weightage of 25 remains same. Whether it is used in program A, program B, program C, 25 will remain 25. They will not change its value. It means I can't say 25 in another program as 10. It remains 25. The value doesn't change. Its weightage doesn't change. Okay. Whereas variable keeps on varying. In one program, roll can be 10. In another program, roll can be 25 also. Variable can keep changing its value, but constant can't change its value. Now, for each data type, there is a constant based on their memory, you can say data range. So, if I say here byte roll is equal to 10, then 10 is a literal over here. So, is 10, 15, 25, 55. This number cannot exceed its range. So, I'm sure you must have gone through the range, data range for each and every data. Very important is when you are declaring float, it should end with F. F is compulsory, capital or small. If you do not write the literal with F, it is default considered as double value and you will get an error message here. So if I write here float P is equal to 2.5, alright, then I will get error. Because if I want to declare that literal as truly a floating point literal, then I have to end it with F. As far as double is concerned, you do not write, it is considered as double. However, if I am writing double, P is equal to 5.5 D, capital or a small, anything is acceptable. D is an optional, but P is in a float, F is compulsory. Now, same way, if I want to declare a character as a literal, then character must be surrounded by single quote. It has to be only one character. It cannot be anything other than one. Even a space also you want to have, it can be a space like this. There has to be a space in between which should be visibly seen. So as when I want to declare a boolean value, I can declare either true or false. So there are only two places, two values allowed, true or false. No other values are allowed. And if you're taking a string, you can write however bigger number of characters as long as they are in the pair of double quotes. Okay, whereas in the character it is a single quote. So they are called literals. They are the data value. Any value you want to store, you need to have required data type. You can say, all right, and then you have to write according to matching with the data type is literal. Now, let us go a little bit more in literal. If I have to say literal, integral literal, then integral literal means when I say a number is an integer, it means a number with no decimal point is called integral literal. Alright, so once computer will ultimately convert all of them into binary, but to store integral literal, I have got 4 keywords being given byte, short, int, long. So these values has to be without decimal. You cannot apply decimal at all. Okay, the moment it becomes decimal, it is no more an integral literal, but it is called floating point literal. So a floating point, when I say a floating point, it means we are talking about number with a decimal. So a number with a decimal, all right, it is called a floating point literal. It means it has to have one decimal point only with at least a digit. So when I say a floating point literal, I can store it, I can write it in two forms. I can store it in a computer using two ways. One is a real form. What is a real form? So the real form is a number with at least one digit before the decimal and the one after the decimal, at least one. It can have more also, but minimum one. So when I say a decimal, minimum one before. So if I just say 0.5, then default considered here as 0. So if you do not write anything before, then computer will automatically count this as 0. That kind of a form is known as a real form. Like these are the form. It can be positive, negative. Whereas the second type of form is called an exponent form. It means when your data value is bigger alright, inside, then you don't want to write, or sometime when a computer is extracting an answer after the formula, the answer may come with something like e into it. Now e, this is called an exponent form. So if I have to explain this very simple form, I'll say, if I want to say 2.5, focus here please, alright, 2.5, can I write 2.5 as 0.25 into maybe 10? Okay, so I can say 0.025 into 100. They both mean same, all of them mean same. Now this 10 is your e value, and can I also say the same thing as 0.25 into 10 to the power 1, or can I say here 0.025 into 10 to the power 2? So where e is your 10 and this is your power value. So I can write the same thing as 0.25 E1. It means 0.25 into 10 to the power 1, 0.025 E2. So any number can be written in an exponent form the way you want. So if I say system.out.println 0.025 E2, then computer on the screen will print 2.5. Computer will do the calculation. So I can present a number to the computer in an exponent form, where it's very important, e is called an exponent, alright, and the number before e, that is 0.25, is called mantissa, and 1 is your exponent value. Okay, that is your power value. So in this case, I can say this is your mantissa and this is your exponent. In this case, this is your mantissa and this is your exponent. So you can, it is not necessary that you have to always apply E1, E2. You can take a call for it. So I can straight ask you in the exam, system.out.println, and if I do this, what will be the answer? So this is the answer, 7.525. I hope you have understood this. Let us move on to the next one. Then you have a character letter. Character letter is nothing but one single character. If I want to store a single character, someday you will realize the most useful on your mobile is a single character. You press single button to perform a task, to go back, to load something, to do something. Every time you press a button, it's a single character entry. So when you want a single character to be stored, alright, into a computer, your data type is CHR, but your literal has to have a single. Even a digit can be written here. A special sign also can be written here. Alright, as but 25 may be a single number, but it's not a single digit, so not allowed. So a single character is allowed. Boolean, as we have seen, there are only two, they are reserved by Java. Alright, you cannot store anything other than true or false. I can either store Boolean as a is equal to true or a is equal to false. Again, this one also has a very important use. Right, number of places you have seen, you have a checkbox. In checkbox, sometime you have a tick, second time you tick, the tick goes. So every time you say tick, which is nothing but true, alright, and when you untick it, it becomes false. So it has a very important use in doing the setting. So at some stage when you come across to become a professional programmer, you will use this also very highly in order to do the setting of the program. Then you have a string literal. String literal is already saying 0, that's nothing, or more number of characters written between a pair of double quotes. So I can have no characters, I can have one character, I can have two, I can have five, I can have any number of characters. As long as it is double quotes, it is considered as a string. Okay, so if I want, even null can be written as, so I can say string s is equal to blank like this with nothing, or I can also say string s is equal to null like this. Null is the only word that you can write without quotes, which means blank, nothing. Okay, very important, true, false and null. that you've read, they are on the literal side, they are on the right hand side. They are on the right hand side. They are not keyword, but yet they are reserved. So I hope you guys have understood this. As your Java tokens. We'll go more in details with the operators in the next session. Till the time, thank you very much, all of y'all. God bless.